Life in Seattle had always been busy for Emily Parker and her husband, Daniel Parker. Married for 7 years, they had built a life together that was filled with career responsibilities, social obligations, and the everyday hustle of urban living. Emily worked as a marketing strategist for a growing tech firm downtown, while Daniel was a high school history teacher who poured his heart into shaping young minds. On the outside, they seemed like the perfect couple. Always smiling in photos, attending friends' gatherings, and sharing their lives on social media. But behind closed doors, Emily often felt like something was missing. Not love, not loyalty, but connection. It wasn't that Daniel didn't care, he did. He was kind, respectful, and always made time for her in the best way he knew how. But over the years, their relationship had slipped into routine. Their conversations became shorter, dinners were rushed, and their moments of closeness felt predictable. Emily sometimes found herself pretending she was perfectly content, pretending she wasn't longing for something deeper. Not because she didn't love Daniel, but because she didn't want to hurt him. One evening in early spring, Seattle's skies were painted with soft pink clouds after a light drizzle. Emily sat by the window with a cup of green tea, staring out at the rain-soaked streets below. Daniel came home carrying a stack of graded papers and looked exhausted. He gave her a tired smile and kissed her forehead. "Long day?" she asked. "You could say that," he sighed. "My students think the American Revolution is just a movie plot." Emily chuckled softly, but the silence that followed was heavier than she liked. She wanted to tell him what she was feeling, that she needed more presence, more effort, more of them. But instead, she just asked about his day and tucked away her feelings. That weekend, Emily met her best friend, Rachel, at a small coffee shop near Pike Place Market. Rachel had been married a little longer than Emily and often offered practical advice. As they sipped their cappuccinos, Emily confessed, "Sometimes I feel like Daniel and I are just going through the motions. I don't want to fake being happy. I want to be happy." Rachel nodded thoughtfully. "Men aren't mind readers, Em. Sometimes you have to show them what you need. Not in a critical way. More like an invitation." That night, Emily thought about those words. She realized she couldn't keep expecting Daniel to notice what she hadn't even fully expressed. She needed to find a way to bring them closer without making him feel inadequate. The following week, she planned something different. On Friday evening, when Daniel walked in, instead of waiting for him to collapse on the couch, she greeted him with a smile and said, "Don't make plans tonight. I've got a surprise." He raised his eyebrows, intrigued. Emily had packed a small picnic basket filled with homemade sandwiches, fresh strawberries, and sparkling water. She drove them to Gas Works Park, a spot overlooking Lake Union where the city lights reflected beautifully on the water. As they laid out a blanket, Daniel looked around and said, "Wow, I can't remember the last time we did something like this." "That's exactly why we're here," Emily replied. "I miss us." Her words hit him in a way that made him pause. He realized she wasn't blaming him. She was inviting him to rebuild their spark. They talked for hours that night, reminiscing about their college days in Boston, the road trips they had taken, and their dreams for the future. For the first time in a long while, Daniel felt like they were truly connecting. Over the next few weeks, Emily and Daniel began making small but meaningful changes. They set aside one night a week with no phones, no work, just them. They cooked meals together, walked hand in hand along Alki Beach, and even signed up for a weekend cooking class downtown. Emily noticed Daniel making an effort. Not just because she had asked, but because he wanted to. One evening, Emily told him gently, "You know, I don't ever want to have to pretend I'm okay when I'm not. I need us to always be honest, even when it's uncomfortable." Daniel nodded, holding her hands. "I don't ever want you to feel like you have to fake happiness with me. If I'm falling short, tell me. Because you matter more than my pride." That honesty transformed their relationship. It wasn't about grand gestures or expensive gifts. It was about presence, vulnerability, and showing up for each other. Emily realized that by opening the door to communication instead of keeping her feelings hidden, she gave Daniel the chance to rise with her instead of apart from her. Months later, while they were watching the sunset on a quiet pier, Emily leaned her head on his shoulder. "Do you realize how far we've come?" she whispered. Daniel smiled. "I do. And I promise, you'll never have to fake it again." And for the first time in years, Emily felt not just loved, but truly understood.